my service dog, obviously. Paw. So today I'm going to be talking about postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. The condition is legit in its name. Postural, meaning posture, sitting to standing, laying down. Orthostatic, orthostatic intolerance, basically. It's an orthostatic intolerance. And tachycardia means high heart rate. Syndrome being, it's a syndrome, so it can be temporary. It can last a long time, or it can be chronic. In my condition, I'd say it's chronic because I haven't grown out of it. It's been about 3 years since I've been diagnosed with POTS. No, lay down. It's been about 3 years since I've been diagnosed with POTS, and it was definitely a frustrating thing. Luckily, I got diagnosed with it pretty quick. But I've known people who have had very severe symptoms, and it's taken a long time. In my case, it was kind of severe because I lost some weight. I'm sure I probably lost like 5 pounds because I think I was around 25 and now I'm 35. Like, I gained a good 10 pounds in between that period. And now I'm just at a stable kind of weight. Because in December, I was having, I think even before, I was having a lot of anxiety problems. But I have anxiety, so I think a lot of my palpitations, out of breath, was blamed on anxiety and asthma, which I do have. They're very valid. But I feel like because I've had those symptoms before, like palpitations, very common in anxiety. Asthma, I'm out of breath. So, it kind of was just blended in with everything. And it didn't get really severe until December 2018 when I got my wisdom teeth pulled out. And I was fine before, other than palpitations, out of breath, just very casual things. But POTS has been known to show after surgeries, major surgeries. Just in puberty, it's just like, oh, hello, don't want to work. So there's that. So I do think that having my wisdom teeth surgery caused it, because I was very dizzy during the surgery, but I was on laughing gas. So there's that. But afterwards, I took 2 things of codeine, which is what they told me to. If I was in pain, I just, fresh out of surgery, took 2 things of codeine because I was like, fuck this. I am in pain. And so, fun little fainting story. My first fainting experience was on the toilet. And I screamed the 4 words that I always say if I don't feel good. I don't feel good. I was like, Dad, I do not feel good. He's like, what? And all I remember is I'm waking up and my dad's just slapping the heck out of me. And I'm like, ugh, I'm in and out of consciousness. And I just keep passing out. And not until he got me to lay down after probably 5 minutes of me coming in and out of consciousness. And he said I looked like I was having a seizure because, when you faint, your muscles are also trying to not let you fall. So yeah, that was a fun experience of passing out on the toilet. And it's common to pass out on the toilet. I don't remember why I Googled this. I think it was because I was freaking out, oh my God, I just passed out on the toilet. But it's actually very, very common to be passing out while you're on the toilet. It's the most common place to pass out, which is hilarious. So after that experience of passing out, during and after my process of healing my wisdom teeth, I was so nauseous. I probably ate once a day and snacked on little things. But at one point, I was throwing up so much. My mom literally told me, Anastasia, are you pregnant? What is going on? I'm like, no, Mom, I'm not pregnant. And this just crushed my soul because I'm like, I don't feel good. My parents don't believe me. My doctor just thinks it's anxiety and asthma, and they have no clue what's going on with me. And so after maybe a month or 2 of still constantly vomiting my meals up at night, I'm not bulimic. I was just that bad. It was just that bad. Common places your blood pulls is in your stomach. That's where you have a lot of blood vessels, is in your stomach, because digestion requires a lot of blood and squeezing and moving in the intestines. It's very weird. That's also how you get your nutrition. It's through your stomach and your small intestines. So blood tends to pool there because it gets stopped there. And also in your legs. And for me, it's been in my hands too. I get a lot of discoloration in my hand and my legs. Sometimes I'll get patchy on my stomach because of the blood pooling. It's just basically your blood doesn't circulate the right way. So I was constantly vomiting. Like, I would do dishes and my legs would be purple. So we finally went to a doctor, like a specialist. So the first specialist I went to was a neurologist. No, the first specialist I went to was a cardiologist. They didn't do an EKG. Or did they? I think they did. They did an EKG, but I was going to a neurologist and a cardiologist at the same time. The neurologist wanted me to go to the cardiologist to do an EKG, so I went there, did an EKG. He said I was having vagovessel inconsistencies. He said it was caused by puberty and that I would grow out of it, and it's been 3 years. I haven't grown out of it. I'm almost 18. So I'm like, I don't think he's right. But he did give me fluorocortisone, which is also commonly used in people with POTS. And I think so POTS and vagovessel are like the same thing, except they're not really the same thing. Vagovessel is like you grow out of it, like your puberty. It's just kind of stunted growth. But mine is still not stunted growth. So I went to a neurologist. She was like, yeah, this is POTS. What you're on is okay. We did a poor man's tilt table test. So basically you lay down for 5 minutes, you sit up for 5 minutes, and then you stand up for 5 minutes. This is the, little examine table. You know what I mean? So you stand up, you sit, you lay down, you sit, you stand up. They take your heart rate, they take your blood pressure in those times. So basically that means that my heart rate spiked over 30. So normally my heart rate's about 60 to 50 if I'm just chillaxing. But if I stand up, I'm walking, or sometimes if I'm eating, it will spike. One time I was eating this week and it went from, common to 158 just from going up the stairs and eating with my family. So that was frustrating, but that's POTS. Jeez, I'm out of breath. That's also POTS. So POTS causes dizziness, tunnel vision. It causes palpitations. It causes nauseousness. If you don't know, the vagal vessel is like the central system to your organs and communication. So basically, when I explain POTS to people, is my brain does not know what gravity is. So my brain and my heart don't communicate together. My stomach is involved in all sorts of fun things. My POTS is mostly triggered by exercise and walking. But if I do move my head too fast, or like if I'm walking and I turn to talk to someone, I could pass out. I've done that several times where I've almost passed out because of that. POTS is definitely not something to let yourself down on. I can't tell you how many times I've cried, like, why can't I be normal? Because I went from a very active person to a person who lays in bed most of the day. Other than when they have to go to school and work. I've tried working retail. It just wasn't for me. After a season, it was just too much. I didn't have enough breaks. And it was standing. I worked at American Eagle. But now I do dog training. Zeke, you're okay. Zeke has definitely helped me. Ever since I started doing swim and my heart rate was spiking a lot more, Zeke started to catch on to it. So he's been starting to really understand a heart rate alert. So most of the time if my heart rate spikes, he'll lick me or he'll paw me. Most of the time when it's on his own and we're not training, it's a lick. He'll lick my hands, especially if they start to get red. You can tell my hands, my feet, and my stomach get patchy red. Zeke, come. He's getting impatient. My mom's home. So he does heart rate alert for that. He's been consistent on it. Not so much if it's a quick spike, but if it's it stays there for a while and I have to sit down, he'll tell me, sit Sit. Good boy. Thank you. So he does heart rate alert. He does mobility, and we're actually starting to work on, we're starting to work on counterbalance. He does know counterbalance while walking. Shh. Lay down. No. My doggy wants me. So he does do that. I used a walking stick, like a trekking stick, somewhere over here, but I'm going to switch to a cane because it's just lower. It's better on your joints because, it's your wrist length. As of this is like, I'm walking it like a walking stick. And people won't question me as much. I'm like, why the heck do you have a walking stick? Yeah. So I'll have a cane soon, which I'm really excited about because I want to try that. I do wear compression socks if I'm going through bad flares. Summers are horrible for people with POTS. And also, it's recommended 30 minutes of exercise. I think for me, it was about 64 ounces of water a day. I rarely hit that. I drink like maybe 2.5 water bottles at the most. Of my water bottle, I don't use plastic water bottles. And 2,000 grams of sodium, which is really hard to achieve. So electrolyte boosters, or salt. There's actually salt tablets, which I'm probably going to look into. Those are really good resources for people with POTS. I heard about high fiber, low carb diets are really good for people with POTS. I haven't tried. I have tried to been eating more fibers. I don't really see a difference. A good thing to do also is not to just jump out of bed. I used to just in a rush, and I still do sometimes because I miss the bus or I'm almost late to missing the bus. So it's recommended to just sit for a little bit, so it's just not such a drastic change in position. Brain fog. Also POTS. So there's those things. So POTS is very common. If I'm not mistaken, it said 200,000 people in the U.S. are diagnosed with it, which is common, but sadly there's not enough doctors for it. I know for me I have the option to go to Evanston Hospital where there is a dysautonomia specialist, but I've been on a wait list since 2018. It's currently 2020 and it's in July. So I know the Evanston Hospital and Mayo Clinic hospitals specialize in dysautonomia. So if you're a doctor and you want some moolah, you should probably go back to school for dysautonomia or educate yourself on dysautonomia, because I swear to God, we need more doctors. We need more doctors. And so I'm waiting for that. A lot of your information is going to come from your doctor, and even if it's really hard to get diagnosed with it, which I know because it's an invisible illness, communicating with your doctors and the people around you is very important, because I've recently started to communicate with my parents about how I'm feeling. I don't like to tell people that I'm feeling bad. I just kind of feel like I'm a burden when it comes to things like that. So I've been trying, and that's how I'm getting a cane now, is because my mom's like, oh, you need this. Okay, cool. Let's try it. You don't really communicate when we're out. You just kind of sit. And yeah, I sit, but I'd like to stand for a bit longer. So there's that. What else? I feel like that's it. I definitely do want to start doing more videos on POTS, because POTS is something that isn't common, but I've seen some more YouTubers come out about their POTS and how they manage it with their daily life, and I think I'd probably want to try that, because I just want to spread more awareness about something that is common but is underrated and not understood as well as other illnesses. So I guess it's very encouraging to see more people talking about POTS. And I guess I just kind of want to be that person too, because I know there is some people who don't know about it or do have it. On my channel, I do actually talk to a lot of you guys on Instagram, which is Service Dog Team, /team. So yeah, I just want to help people understand this very confusing, complex, invisible illness. So peace out, and I'll be back with most likely another video on POTS. I have been doing more training, so I'll probably show you guys that too.